Welcome, everyone. I am thrilled to guide you through the essential administrative tasks for Microsoft 365 Copilot and agents. As IT professionals, you are the gatekeepers of AI innovation in your organization. Today, we will explore how to successfully license, secure, govern, and monitor these powerful tools so you can empower your users while protecting your enterprise data. Let's get started. To manage AI effectively, we must first understand the fundamental difference between Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot agents. Think of Copilot as your personal, embedded assistant. It lives in Word, Excel, and Teams, responding to your real-time prompts to draft content or summarize meetings. It acts entirely within the specific user's context. Agents, on the other hand, are customized entities tailored to specific business workflows. They can be designed to run automatically on a schedule, connect to external systems like Jira or Salesforce, and handle multi-step processes like invoice approvals. Why does this matter to you as an admin? Because choosing the right tool dictates your deployment strategy. You roll out Copilot to enhance individual knowledge work, but you deploy agents to automate structured, organizational tasks. As we progress, we will look at how to govern both effectively using your administrative centers. Looking at this flowchart, you can see the clear architectural divergence based on the user's intent. When a user initiates a real-time request in an app, the flow moves left to Microsoft 365 Copilot, which taps directly into the Microsoft Graph to safely access the user's files and emails to generate content. Conversely, if the request requires a multi-step or automated workflow, the flow moves right to a Copilot agent. Notice how the agent can reach beyond the graph into external APIs and enterprise data sources. Finally, while Copilot outputs content back to the user, the agent often executes a back-end task, such as updating a database or triggering a notification. This visual perfectly captures their distinct roles. Security begins with role-based access control, or RBAC. The golden rule here is the principle of least privilege. You should never rely on the global administrator role for day-to-day Copilot management, as it grants risky, tenant-wide access. Instead, we use scoped roles. For instance, assign the AI administrator role to oversee Copilot configurations and approve agents, or the license administrator role to manage subscriptions without exposing your security policies. But Copilot administration doesn't stop at Microsoft Entra ID. Because agents reside in Power Platform environments, you must also manage environment roles. A user might have a Copilot license, but if they lack the Environment Maker role in the Power Platform Admin Center, they cannot build or publish custom agents. They will only be able to interact with them as a basic user. By layering Entra ID roles with Power Platform environment roles, you build an impenetrable foundation for AI governance. Let's break down this permissions architecture. On the top left, Microsoft Entra ID handles your broad tenant roles. The AI administrator is empowered to approve agents and manage settings, while the license administrator simply assigns seats. This separation of duties is critical. On the bottom left, the Power Platform dictates what happens inside the actual workspaces where agents live. The Environment Maker role is what actually unlocks the capability to build and publish custom agents. Meanwhile, the basic user role allows everyday employees to simply chat with those agents. By dividing permissions into these two distinct pillars, you ensure that no single account holds the keys to the entire AI kingdom. Managing the financial footprint of Copilot is one of your primary duties. Microsoft offers two distinct billing models to fit your needs. First, the monthly per-user license. This provides cost predictability. The most efficient way to deploy this at scale is through group-based licensing in Entra ID. By assigning a license to a security group, like marketing team, new hires automatically receive Copilot access, and departing employees lose it instantly, saving you immense administrative overhead. However, what if a department only needs Copilot occasionally? That is where pay-as-you-go, or consumption billing, comes in. You can create a billing policy tied to an Azure subscription, allowing users to access Copilot features where you are billed per transaction. This is phenomenal for pilot testing. The catch, pay-as-you-go, requires vigilant monitoring. You must configure Azure budget alerts to trigger when spending hits 80%, ensuring a curious user doesn't accidentally drain your IT budget. This decision tree illustrates the ideal licensing strategy. It all starts with analyzing the user's need. If a team relies on Copilot for heavy daily workflows, you route them to the left, secure a monthly per-user license, and assign it via an Entra ID group. This guarantees a predictable IT budget. But if usage is sporadic or part of a trial, you route them to the right. Assign a pay-as-you-go policy linked directly to your Azure subscription. Crucially, notice the final step on the right: you must set Azure budget alerts. Without these alerts, consumption costs can spike invisibly. This dual strategy perfectly balances cost efficiency with enterprise flexibility. When deploying AI, security is the foremost concern for leadership. Let me be unequivocally clear: Microsoft 365 Copilot only sees what the user sees. It does not bypass your existing access controls. Copilot retrieves its knowledge through Microsoft Graph, which acts as a secure gateway, enforcing the user's exact permissions in SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams before any data is sent to the AI. If an employee cannot open a confidential HR document manually, Copilot cannot summarize it for them. Furthermore, Copilot strictly honors Microsoft Purview configurations. If you apply a highly confidential sensitivity label or a data loss prevention policy to a file, Copilot respects those restrictions during content generation. Finally, your data is yours. Prompts and graph data are processed in a secure, isolated tenant boundary and are never used to train public large language models. Your proprietary intelligence remains entirely secure. Let's trace the exact lifecycle of a Copilot prompt to visualize these security boundaries. The user starts by sending a prompt to Copilot. Copilot doesn't go straight to the AI. Instead, it sends a data request to Microsoft Graph. Graph then checks with Purview and your tenant's permission models. This is the critical security gate. Purview filters out any files the user shouldn't see or that are blocked by data loss prevention labels. Graph then returns only authorized data, enriching the prompt. This grounded prompt is securely passed to the isolated Azure OpenAI LLM, which generates the response and returns it to the user. At no point does unauthorized data cross the boundary. Beyond embedded Copilot features, you can empower your workforce to build their own Copilot agents. These are task-specific assistants. Everyday business users, without any coding experience, can use the Copilot Studio Lite experience or the SharePoint agent tool to build these bots using plain natural language. For instance, a user simply tells the builder, "Create an agent that answers vacation policy questions and link it to the HR SharePoint site." The system handles the rest. However, as an administrator, you must enforce a culture of testing. Before an agent is deployed, creators must rigorously test its instructions, tone, and accuracy using the built-in test pane. They need to throw edge case questions at the agent to ensure it doesn't hallucinate or provide incorrect data. Once the agent behaves perfectly, it can be published, turning a static document library into an interactive, intelligent resource for the entire team. This state diagram maps the agile creation process for everyday users. It begins in the describe state, where the user types out their desired bot functionality in plain English. This automatically moves them into the configure state, where instructions are refined. Next, they add knowledge, securely linking the bot to specific SharePoint sites or uploaded files. The most iterative loop happens next: test agent. Users chat with the draft bot. If it fails an edge case, they loop back to configuration. Once testing is fully validated and accurate, the agent transitions to the final publish state, moving from a draft to a live organizational tool. You cannot simply let users deploy AI agents unchecked. That leads to shadow AI and data sprawl. This is why the agent approval and governance lifecycle is mandatory. When a user builds and publishes an agent, it doesn't go live immediately. It lands in the Microsoft 365 Admin Center as a pending request. As an AI administrator, you are the gatekeeper. You must review the agent's capabilities, verify its data sources, and ensure it isn't requesting over-permissioned access. Only then do you hit approve. Governance is also a continuous lifecycle. Through the agent registry, you can monitor all active agents. If a business process changes or an agent starts behaving poorly, you have the power to block it, immediately cutting off user access. If the agent is permanently obsolete, you can delete it, which safely destroys the agent and its underlying SharePoint embedded storage containers. This flowchart traces the rigid governance lifecycle. It starts at the top when a maker publishes an agent, instantly placing it into a pending request queue for IT. During the admin review, if risks are found, it's rejected and sent back to the maker. If approved, it is deployed into the corporate agent store. From there, continuous monitoring kicks in. The bottom diamond represents your ongoing administrative power. If an agent causes issues, you take the left path to block it, freezing access. If it's completely retired, you take the right path to delete it, permanently clearing out the data and keeping your tenant clean. Deploying Copilot is an investment, and like any investment, you must prove its return on investment. Monitoring usage and adoption turns guesswork into hard evidence. Your key metric here is the ratio of enabled users to active users. If finance has 100 Copilot licenses, but only 10 users are active, you are wasting money. Keep in mind, Microsoft strictly defines an active user as someone who intentionally submits a prompt and receives a response. Merely clicking the Copilot icon doesn't count. For day-to-day triage, use the Microsoft 365 Admin Center usage reports to spot these trends and reassign unused licenses. For deep, leadership-ready analytics that correlate AI usage with business impact, rely on Viva Insights. And for those on pay-as-you-go billing, the Azure Cost Management Dashboard is critical to monitor specific departmental spends and catch anomalous spikes before your invoice arrives. This pie chart conceptualizes how your monitoring strategy should be divided. About 40% of your operational focus will be in the M365 Admin Center, performing rapid triage to see who is active and shifting licenses away from dormant accounts. 30% of your time, especially if using consumption billing, will be in Azure Cost Management, watching for budget spikes and financial anomalies. The final 30% belongs to Viva Insights, where you generate the polished, impactful reports that prove to your executive board that Copilot is saving time and driving organizational value. You need all three to succeed. Let's bring this all together with a real-world use case: prompt governance. A prompt is not just a query, it is a reusable business workflow. Imagine your HR team wants to automate new hire onboarding. Instead of every HR rep typing slightly different requests into Copilot, a lead creates an optimized prompt, saves it, and shares it with the HR M365 group. This guarantees consistent, standardized outputs. However, as an admin, you must govern this. You must train users to never hard-code sensitive data, like social security numbers, directly into a shared prompt. Instead, the prompt should dynamically reference a secure SharePoint document library. By restricting who can share prompts in the Admin Center, auditing prompt usage, and linking them to secure agents, you create a scalable, highly secure AI ecosystem that accelerates onboarding while maintaining strict compliance. Thank you for your time. Look at this final workflow for prompt governance. The HR lead crafts a highly effective prompt. Before sharing, it passes a conceptual security gate. Does it contain hard-coded sensitive data? If yes, it must be rejected and refined. If no, it is securely saved and shared exclusively with the HR M365 group. Now, when the new hire agent executes that prompt, it dynamically pulls from secure SharePoint files. This results in a consistent, compliant output for the employee. Crucially, the process ends with the admin auditing the usage, ensuring the workflow remains secure and valuable over time.